I want everyone to know about this book from 2007, Epistemic Injustice, Power and the Ethics of Knowing by feminist philosopher Miranda Fricker. I think this is a concept you may know or feel, but the clarity and precision that Fricker brings gives a lot of relief. She says that if you are a human who knows something, there are structures of prejudice that will degrade your credibility before you even open your mouth. This is, in her words, wrong done to someone specifically in their capacity as a knower. Fricker then divides this into two. Quote, I call them testimonial injustice and hermeneutical injustice. Testimonial injustice occurs when prejudice causes a hearer to give a deflated level of credibility to a speaker's word. Hermeneutical injustice occurs at a prior stage, when a gap in collective interpretive resources puts someone at an unfair disadvantage when it comes to making sense of their own social experiences. So an example of the first might be that the police do not believe you because you are Black. An example of the second might be that you suffer sexual harassment in a culture that still lacks that critical concept. Testimonial injustice is familiar. You have a story and you know you will be attacked, bullied, micromanaged, nitpicked. Hermeneutic injustice gets to that thing that happens before you have a story, which is that you know something is wrong, but you cannot name it. This is moving to me because I think the vast majority of childhood is spent in the experience of hermeneutic injustice. Now, these two forms become intersectional by feeding into each other in a loop that Fricker calls runaway credibility deflation. A hermeneutical gap in the society, or the inability to accept and name and hear an experience, makes the speaker who has that experience invisible. That establishes the ground to deflate their personal credibility if they become visible. And that personal deflation then makes the already scantily understood experience appear even less plausible, which compounds the injustice. Fricker gives many examples, and I found her book while looking for frameworks for my own examples. Like, I'm haunted by how, for instance, Palestinians, anti-genocide activists, communists, disabled people, autistic kids are all muzzled from the outset in political, cultural, and medical forums. Now, one very relieving aspect of this analysis for me is that it depersonalizes and depsychologizes that experience. And the example I'll give is that in seeking support for our autistic kid, we have this continual experience of adults and professionals listening or not listening, often the latter. Now, for me, the blind spot is to lay that on the individual exchange as to whether they are more or less receptive and I am more or less clear. So the calculus is about whether I'm a good enough advocate. And did I get lucky with someone in power who is nice? Fricker says you are credible. And if you enter a space in which that is already taken from you, that's not your fault. That is a structural injustice. So for me, my mission as a journalist and writer will now include asking the question, how am I contributing to epistemic injustice? And it feels really good to have that tool.